and welcome to part 2 of this video, an introduction to Shakespeare. Continuing on from the previous video, we're now going to take a look at structure. We're going to look at verse and prose, and within verse we're going to look at things such as rhyme, metre and enjambment. So firstly, let's take a look at rhyme. When considering rhyme, we have to consider rhyming couplets versus blank verse. And they're two different things. Essentially, rhyming couplets are two lines that have rhyming words at the end. So for example, we see here in Romeo and Juliet, Juliet says, "Saints do not move, though grant for prayer's sake." And Romeo says, "Then move not, while my prayer's effect I take." So we can see a rhyme between these two words here. And actually, this part of Romeo and Juliet forms the end of a sonnet. And we would expect to see a rhyming couplet at the end of one of Shakespeare's sonnets. So that is rhyming couplets. Blank verse has the same rhythm, but does not rhyme. So take a look at this extract from Othello, for example. We can't see any rhyme at the ends of these lines. And blank verse is essentially iambic pentameter, which is a rhythm we'll talk about later, with no rhyme. So now let's move on to talking about metre. The most common metre that Shakespeare uses is iambic pentameter. In order to understand iambic pentameter, we need to have an understanding of poetic metre in itself. And there are two parts to identifying poetic metre. The first part we're going to look at is poetic feet. Essentially, each line of poetry is divided up into feet, and a foot is essentially a pattern of syllables. And they're normally a pattern of 2 or 3 syllables. So, for example, iambic feet are essentially a pattern of syllables formed up of 1 weak syllable and 1 stressed syllable.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're looking for an amazing A-level English literature resource, join me today in my series of engaging bite-sized video tutorials. Together, we will concisely cover all the important concepts required by your exam board specification, as well as practically apply what we have learnt through exam-style questions, focusing on how best to structure your answers in order to maximise marks. See you soon, and together, let's make A-level English literature a walk in the park.